Ok, bienvenido, welcome, namaste.
Namaste.
Welcome, Elian, and thank you for being here. And thank you, One First, One Planet, for letting us use this amazing communication device we call Zoom. We're going to be speaking about being in the body and how this relates to amazing relaxation into our energies, into our life force, and into our sexual energies.
Aho.
Oh, yes. And welcome to you that will be watching us in the near future. Thank you for...
Hi.
Hola!
Hola!
We will be making today the presentation in English, and we're gonna do it tomorrow in Spanish, so that if you only speak Spanish, then you can check it tomorrow.
Okay.
So, Elian, we met in Atitlan last year, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
yes.
I wanted to ask you to introduce yourself and your journey in, however you want to phrase it, in terms of all the flow that we're going to be reaching this time. And if you want to start with the meditation, then that would be great.
Yes. I wanted to start a bit with the meditation, to just come into the body and come into contact with this primordial energy in us, and the base energy. Sexual energy is really our base energy. And you asked to introduce myself, so I don't know, I'm a crazy mystic traveling around the globe and transforming through my presence everything I touch and everything I connect with and I watch. So right now I'm in Canada with another amazing teacher of mine. And I evolved this being in the body method, if you want to call it like that. It's a very intuitive approach that has to do mainly with the body awareness, with the awakening of the deeper levels of our body. And it is a very fluid way of moving the body. So it isn't maybe as structured as people know it from yoga or from other practices. It is very much about just coming into the space of your body and then letting the body find its flow and its movements naturally. And from there it can go on many different levels and regions of yourself. And I also offer satsang, which is like a space to find our inner nature, our true nature. And so I was invited by you to speak in this event. And
yes, this is part of the orgasmic ReLovYourChi on, where we reinterpret the love inside us with the chi on, and chi is energy. So we are here to speak about energy.
Yes. Oh. Okay. Good. Then let's start with this meditation. No? We'll keep it not very long, but just to come a little bit into it. So what is good is maybe like if you're sitting on a chair, that you don't lean back completely, that your spine is free, because we're gonna go into a little bit of movement, and it's also better for the energy flow when we're kind of align. So I'm gonna put this a little bit back so you see me better. Yes. Okay. And yeah, first of all, just exhale. Yes. Have a few like deep inhales and then long exhales, because with the exhale, that's the opportunity of letting go of everything.
Go.
Okay, and then place your hands somewhere on or around your genital area, just on the pelvis, just lightly, you know, without any intention, without any pressure. It's just let your hands rest in that area, so that area can come to your awareness. Breathe deep into this base center of yours, base chakra. And imagine that this area, it is breathing. That kind of, it is taking the breath into itself, filling the whole space, and then letting it go completely. Enjoy.
Enjoy.
And feel this area like as a whole. So I think it is your genitals, but it's also all the tissue around it, the pelvic floor, and the anal region, the anus. So like the whole thing. With the man, it includes the prostate, and yeah, with the woman, the la matriz, no, whatever, la matriz. You know what is it in English?
Are you talking about the uterus or the cervix?
Uterus, yeah, uterus, exactly. Uterus.
So letting it breathe, letting our genitals breathe. And the genitals are all this area, right? Not just in front, but also behind.
Also behind, yeah, that's very important also, because our focus in that, how we are conditioned in our sexuality, is very much like frontal. So have a whole, like a spatial awareness of it, as if it is really like a ball, you know, like an energy ball, you know? Okay, so we keep going, breathing into this energy ball at the base of our body, our torso. Now what we can allow is that the pelvis just very gently just goes front and goes back. And it's a very, very slight movement. Doesn't need to be a big movement. It's just, you're just like tilting it a bit into the front and a little bit into the back. A little bit front and a little bit back. And just tune into it. Do it as a gentle rhythm. If it feels better to have the hands now away, you can also put them away, just as it feels good. And then come into this gentle rhythm, bringing the pelvis front and back. And you will feel that this starts including more and more of the spine. So it's basically the pelvis that does it, but you kind of, the whole torso becoming a part of it. And close your eyes in this. Let it just be like a gentle, let it become like a wave. It's not like I move forward and I move backward. It's more like it's one wave that just keeps moving. Keeps moving here in my base chakra. And from there moving upward. And from there, allow the pelvis also to move a bit around, so it can go also a bit to the left and to the right, or around. It's a bit as if you would be sitting on some kind of a fluid ground. Maybe like one of these gymnastic balls, these big balls, or sitting on a boat or something. So it's kind of fluid underneath you. And you keep connecting with your awareness all the way down into your genitals, letting go, letting the pelvic floor relax, letting the genitals relax, letting the anus relax.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Okay, and then you can actually, what we can do is take this meditation into our talk. So I invite everybody to just keep going with this while you listen to the talk, and while we're speaking, we just keep being in this subtle way. So we keep enjoying an inner movement, like we don't. Yeah, it's not natural for the human being to be like rigidly still. You know, stillness is actually something dynamic. You know, like our body is like that. Like even if you lie down and do nothing, or if you stand or sit in a meditation position, a classical, the body is always moving. It's always moving.
Yeah.
Life is really an ongoing pulsation, an ongoing wave. And
yeah, I've heard many people tell me that, oh, I cannot stand still. And it seems like they think that is their personality. But it's not. It's just a feature of our human bodies, like you said.
They cannot what? And maybe you can speak a little bit up. I didn't understand. They cannot. Many people cannot what?
They tell me, oh, me, I cannot stand still. You know.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
But it's not their personality that is like that. Although they think that way, but it's the whole body that is just moving constantly energetically. So.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, and it's, in a way, it's paradox, you know. It's like the more you let your body flow, the more easy it will be for you to just completely relax and be still, you know. And the more you hold the body tense, it will be both difficult for you to just move and be spontaneous and be in flow, and it will be also difficult for you to just be still and do nothing, you know. So you'll kind of in, like, the tension means it's like it's movement, but it's a tense movement instead of a natural movement or fluid movement. And then we're already right in sexuality, you know, like I mean, how could you have like a fulfilling, flowing sexuality if you yourself are so tense and are so hard and are so rigid in your body structure, you know? So the essence of sexuality is flow, you know. It's flow. It's a wave. It's a spiral, you know. It's a dance. That's also the between two people, you know. It's a dance of the energy. It's a giving and a receiving. It's a merging into each other, and yeah, and the energy in itself, the life energy, sexual energy is life energy, right? And that's where life comes from, and it is flow. Yeah. Very, very basic. It's a flow. And yeah, as we allow ourselves to be in flow and to let it flow, well, yeah, we enjoy it. You know?
Yeah. What are the characteristics of masculine energy and of feminine energy? Like in terms of this, for example, what I've learned is that feminine is slow and masculine is fast.
Is what? Masculine is what?
Feminine is slow and masculine is fast.
I still don't get that word. Masculine is what?
Masculine is fast. This is masculine, like.
Okay, slow and fast.
Slow.
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, yeah.
And also masculine rises in the back with the bones, like hard structured bones. And feminine flows down and with the organs, you know, the softness of the organs.
Yeah.
And I wanted to ask you to complement this or to talk about this.
Yeah, in the base, it's a game of structure and flexibility, you know. It's like, okay, now we spoke before about the Shiva Lingam, you know, which I put here. So the Shiva Lingam, it's like, this is the you know, it's the penis, if you want, the penis of God, the penis of Shiva, which is just like a straight line. It's absolutely straight. It's absolutely clear. It stands on itself and for itself. It is aligned, you know. It is a clear, uncompromising structure. And the feminine energy is like what surrounds that, you know. It's like the complete openness of an ocean, you know, the water that would just always flow around this clarity of structure, you know. And together in between those poles is where life is created. And if you see the serpent, I mean, the serpent in my work has a very big part, you know. I work a lot with like what you could call the serpent medicine. The serpent represents exactly like the fluid on earth. You could say the water is the feminine, if you want, and the earth is the masculine in that sense, because it's much more structured, much more built than life in ocean. And the serpent, one of the many things it represents is that it's like a combination of a structure, you know, of a line and a fluidity in that. So that combines the two energies. And yeah, okay, but well, to be a bit more, maybe more, I suppose that many people who will listen, they may be more interested actually in their own life, you know, and their own issues. So how we are, that is how we will relate to sexuality, you know? It's like that. And the tendency nowadays, especially, it's like that, it's to keep it so rigid, you know, to have so much of ideas of how it is, how I want this, you know. This is like, that is the masculine mind that has no more balance from the feminine, that is like only in the masculine thing. So it's too much structure, you know, too much straightness, too much wanting something. And yeah, the whole sexuality in the world is dominated by that, you know? And so the invitation there is kind of, especially for guys, to allow ourselves to be sensitive, to be fluid, to be vulnerable also, and to be feeling, basically feeling, allowing.
Yeah. I've in my experience, I've seen that we males tend to be way more aroused by visual stimuli, and females by listening stimuli.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes, that's also a thing, because the visual is very much outgoing, you know, so we kind of,
it's something we want to control, right? Like, I don't want a piece of that.
Exactly, yeah. And so the ears are more receptive organ, you know, like sounds come in, you know. And yeah, what else? I think one thing we were talking before was also this, that like a very, very important distinction or a thing to become aware of is that, like, there's sex and there's just sexual energy in itself. And it's to realize the difference between the two. It's very crucial, you know, because sexual energy, it's in itself, it's just an energy. It's just innocent. It's just a flow. It's just something that moves through our body. So it doesn't even have to be linked to actual sex, you know. And this is very important, that, like, I can feel an attraction with someone. It doesn't mean that I need to do something with that right away, you know. And that is also what, for women, then they can feel safe in their expression and in their sexuality and in their beauty when a man is able to just be with that energy without right away making it about, I want this now, you know, it needs to be this, it needs to get somewhere, you know, this over masculine straightness.
Yeah.
And
yeah, it's beautiful to just allow that beauty to unfold without it's kind of like we're repeating ourselves in different ways, but it all comes down to the same thing. Like, you know, Pink Floyd says in their song, set the controls to the heart of the sun, and I love that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the key, one of the keys, is really to connect with your own energy. You know, like what you're doing a lot with this all this Taoist practices. You know, um, but it's just cultivating your own energy, basically taking time to be with your energy and to process things inside of yourself.
Yes.
So not getting lost in the outside, but bringing awareness into the flow of the energy, you know. Mm-hmm.
And there's one Sanskrit word that sums that up that says ekagrata. Right? Ekagrata is the single pointed awareness.
Single pointed awareness, yeah.
I love this word because it describes how, like a defense mechanism, if we feel ourselves we are trying to control too much, we can do ekagrata, with our hands or just with our awareness anywhere in our body and just feel that urge and just
ekagrata. I mean, that is again very, very Shiva, very masculine energy. Okay, I mean, just to introduce this words, when I say Shiva in the tantric tradition, this is like the male energy, the male god Shiva, and Shakti is like the female energy. So I might use this word, so maybe it's better to explain it. No? So ekagrata is very Shiva, it's like you focus energy on one point, and you're really able to focus energy, so it doesn't take you away into all directions, but you focus it, you kind of concentrate energy. And it also has to do a lot with containment. That is also something we learn over the years as a man, like when you're very young, you can't really contain it, you just want to go somewhere with your drive, So I think an important thing in growing up is to just learn to contain, not to repress. It's a very, very, very different thing, So repressing energy is like I have to block. So I'm not allowed to show this. I'm not allowed to feel this. You're allowed to feel everything. Whatever you feel is what you feel. There's nothing wrong in a feeling. But then by relaxing into it, and by embracing it inside, you're able to contain an energy, and which will again it will give you energy. That's also something you mentioned, that sexual energy has the potential of flowing in our body and of healing our body,
Yes. It's very noticeable how, of course, this sexual energy can flow. If it flows all around our bodies, it creates this state where our bodies can fully relax and our cells can reproduce locally to heal. This orgasmic energy, in a very small dimension, is doing some reproduction. And this is sustainable. It's for our cells to happily reproduce. And what we have, on our leaders is a culture of rapism and sexual fear, and this is particularly horrible for our health.
Yeah.
We are in a way, being a big light in the Western civilization, and the Western civilization is wanting to dominated the whole world. So
it is.
This is a new kind of schooling that we're doing, that we are in service of, right? in service of the one reality we are a part of. We are one, so we want everybody to be happy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's also about speaking about masculine and feminine energy. That's like when you see the history of mankind, like we started with something very, very feminine. Like when humans were still very close to Earth, they were just close to Mother Earth, and they knew it is her mother. Like every culture knew the Earth is our mother. She's feminine. Like our planet in itself has such a feminine energy, really, to her. Like how she's giving, how she's growing, how she's giving the fruits and growing and flowing. There's so much water. The majority is really, really water on this planet, and so in our origins we were all connected to the feminine, to the mother goddess. Like all primal cultures also connected with the mother goddess, La Pachamama, and it shifted at some point. That was around when actually it started, when the civilizations came about. So all civilization organized, structured. So in a way it was also needed to organize, like it's a different to organize a little tribe, like a little group in the forest is a very different thing from organizing like a whole society. So all major societies became masculinized,
Yes.
So the old Greeks, the old Romans, but also when you can see the Aztecs and the Mayas, and so they also had very much, it was very much a warrior culture. So so I would say really all civilizations that the strongest shift was really in the Hebrew, the Israelis, that it's also interesting to see that they come from a desert culture, like both the Jewish and the Arab culture later, and the Christians also come from there. So it comes from a very arid, where there isn't a lot of flow, where there isn't a lot of growth, a lot of femininity, where it's like very dry and very sun and dry. That is where really this masculine religions started, that God is a man and God is the father, and and then they would also with the symbol of the serpent, like the serpent in the ancient traditions. All the ancient traditions have like it's the sacred animal. And in the patriarchal traditions, it was made like a symbol of the devil. And so then this over masculine thing, it like took over, put the feminine under, and created all this separation, on so many levels. Also this
all these walls all around, and
wars.
walls. And
walls and wars.
The indigenous people all over the world, I would say, stand for they never quit being the feminine energy that was just protecting the Mother Earth. And that's why I have such a strong message, and we all need to have a strong message about coming back to honor the indigenous, I call them.
The what? The indigenous?
Dishonor the doctors, dishonor the sciences that have been so arrogant as to pretend that they need to really nail down and comprehend intellectually what it is all about. Whereas, what we're talking about is just being in the natural flow is your best teacher, right? And pain also is your best teacher.
It was that like this masculine overpowering consciousness, if you want to call it, it's a form of that would like overtake make it small, like put it down, everything that is like indigenous, that is natural, that comes from the root, that comes from the base, you know, and that's why also sexual oppression, you know, a lot of separation between the upper body and the lower body. So now only the intellectual thing, that is the value is about thinking, you know, not anymore about feeling. And there's a separation between the mind and the belly that represents like our instinctive nature. And yeah, but the good news is I think we're living times now where all of this is coming together, you know. So we had to go through this, you know. I also don't want to it was terrible. A lot of things that happened were terrible. There's no question, you know, what was done in the whole of America to the indigenous people and all over the world, you know. It was terrible what has been done to women and to children all over the world. And to our souls, you know. Yeah. But in a way, I also don't want to judge it because it was, I see it as part of the game. It had to be this energy to bring us that much forward, you know. It had, it needed a strong masculinity, you know. Otherwise, we would probably not be able to have this conference right now, you know, because computer technology and all this, the modern world comes from this masculine drive to. So what's going on?
I put the battery, put the plug on.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, so in a way, it was to come to that point. Maybe we had to destroy half of the world before we can really become awakened to what's going on. But now is the time where we are awakening. It's happening in much more people, and all the energies come together. You know, like the Eastern knowledge of the inner world is coming together with the Western knowledge of the outer world, and the masculine spirit is coming together with the feminine spirit. The indigenous is coming together with the Western mind, and we are in the time of reuniting both poles.
Yes, and this is very noticeable in Central America, in countries like Costa Rica or Guatemala, or how they call it, Guatemala, because there's, you know, this influx of people from the Anglo-Saxon countries, and the people that are, you know, indigenous, and people that are coming from Latin America that are having the intuition combined with the intellect. And this is all coming together.
Yeah, so it's coming together, and we are in a tantric alchemy, you know, like life is a tantric alchemy. Yeah. And it's a play between the two poles, and a play how to move that energy in a way that it is balanced, you know, and then in a way that it brings about life instead of destroying life.
Yes.
And to me, yeah, cultivating your sexual energy in a conscious way, that's part of it, you know. That's it's a giving. It's not just an individual thing that you do for yourself. It is you are moving energy. When you move energy inside of yourself in a conscious way, you know, where you do move energy around you.
Yes. Yes, we are all very connected, and it's very easy to see it. I love doing this exercise of just placing the tongue on the palate, and I call that the brain kiss. And
Okay. Mm-hmm.
when we're in a group of people,
Yeah, the
we
yogis.
do that, you know, even without the eyes or the
With the eyes, yeah, it's kind of connected in a way, you know.
yeah,
Like when I
it's a
put the
wonderful
tongue up
thing.
there, my eyes just want to go there too, you know. It's kind of, it makes that for me
Oh yeah.
very Indian.
Yes. And so when I tell that to people, the whole, you know, everybody relaxes, because, you know, there's really, you know, energetic links that we can't see between our heads, between our chakras. And it's time to experience that. It's time to take advantage of that. We don't have to touch in order to feel the way we relax, or the way we stress out. You know, if somebody's stressed around you, you know, you're gonna pick up, you immediately feel like, you know, you need to, you know, you're blocked or something. And we need to be conscious about, you know, coming back to our relaxation, to honor everybody.
Oh, oh.
Yes. Oh, can you speak about your experience in India? I would love to go soon, and would love
To
to
India?
get some sharing from you.
Yeah. Oh my God. You come up with questions. It's quite a time ago, I must say, my personal evolution, and it's not that personal only, you know. It has to do something with the streams, with some global streams in a way. Like I was gravitating so much towards the east when I started my journey, you know, like was 20 and early in my 20s, I would always go to India and to Nepal, and so the Eastern tradition was just like had a strong gravity on my system. And now it's always, I'm always, you know, and especially like Central
Can you
America,
repeat that?
South America. Huh?
Can you repeat that? You broke a little bit.
And now I'm moved to America, to Central America, and especially also South America, because it has much more of a grounding effect on my system, you know. So India is very it's like very kundalini up, you know. It's like the energy, they practiced a lot of bringing the base energy like into upwards into the higher chakras, you know. And so they're always talking like that, and, and it's very much it's very easy to open up your third eye in India, you know, like the vibration is so strong, like meditative quality of that field that is there, you know. I mean, there has over thousands of years, I think there has really not been any country that brought about so many yogis, so many mystics, so many, you know, awakened people. And they also kept the tradition. To come back to what I spoke about, this feminine and masculine separation, kind of. India, I mean, on one hand, it also went into a very patriarchal system, you know, like the whole Brahman, the caste system and all that. It is actually a very, very patriarchal, male-dominated system. In a way, in another way, they still kept like the mother goddess, you know. They still pray to Kali and to Lakshmi and to Shakti, you know. They still have, you see everywhere these tantric temples, what I explained, the Shiva Lingam, you see it everywhere. It's everywhere. It's like known that sexual energy is something sacred and something the primordial force behind all life, and so in a way they kept a lot of integration of it. Like there was never like a strong cut like Christianity brought about such a cut with the traditions. Like in Europe, basically the traditions, they were completely cut off, completely eradicated. Like they were all burned, you know, all the wise women, they were just burned. They were just burned, they were just killed, you know. Whoever had any wisdom, any traditional knowing, anything else than what the church would preach, they would just, they are the devil, and they would be just killed. You know?
Yeah.
So, which makes it so difficult for Europeans also, especially to find their roots, you know, to be connected with the earth. You know, that's why they're so often so much in the head, so tense. And yeah, India, one of the things, I mean, there's so much I could tell now. I mean, you open more than a chapter, you open a whole book, you know, when you ask me about India. But just in this context, it kind of preserved the old tradition, you know, like the mantras they celebrate, the yagyas, the pujas, all these celebrations, they're very, 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 very ancient, and it's still part of their daily lives and their daily practice. So there is no, yeah, it is very present, and it was never cut. So like in America, it was very cut. You have the indigenous tradition, but it was like opposite to the Christian.
Yeah. It was suppressed.
Huh?
It was suppressed, except for countries like Guatemala or Mexico, where the presence, indigenous presence, is still very strong.
Yeah, yeah. Well, they're still there, but I mean, they had to sacrifice a lot. You know, like they could not just keep living their traditions. You know,
Yeah.
that only people who have some. Like in Mexico, it's only the Tarahumares in the north, or the Lacandones in the south. Like only people that were so far away from so far away in nature that they still could preserve their old ways. You know, everything else would be like Christianized into the system. You know, that's
Yes.
yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I hope one day to go and to Japan too. I really want to travel all over the world, but for now, I thank you very much. Maybe
Yes,
you wrap it up. Don't know if you.
I would say yeah. So we don't come from yeah, from Hundertsten ins Tausendste. That's a German expression from like yeah.
To keep it focused.
Keep it on 1 point. Eka grata and speak about it.
Eka grata.
Okay, then hey, aho,
Aho, and
aho.
let's keep this orgasmic peace flowing.
Om Namah Shivaya. Aho.
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 Bye bye.